Hello people, this is Arild from Norway. I wanted to show you some of the stuff that I did on the Howlin-mix. And in case you're as geeky as I am, I'll give you a quick tour of my control room as well. But I'll do that at the end. So let's look at the mix first. Okay, so here we are with the mix. It's almost identical to the one that's submitted. Only difference is some of the massy stuff, because this is 11 and I did the mix on 10, so some massy stuff is missing because it's not 64-bit yet. Looking forward to that because I really miss it. And as you can see, I don't use that many plugins. My drums are here, bass stuff. I actually have the tubas in the middle. That's kind of weird, I know, but if you see a lot of the analog consoles, you know, the master is in the middle. So I want it close to wherever I am, like far right. It's just, that's no man's land for me. The mid stuff, see some of them here don't have any plugins at all. Main vocal and some vocal effects. Also here on the backing vocals, there are only effects on or plugins on the buses. Here's some more on the dub, the main dub and that stuff. Over here on the effects, there's actually nothing except for the NLS. I use the NLS on all my buses. And I use a little bit of saturation on or drive, just tiny bit, and just to taste. And I use the different mix settings also to taste. On the dog effects track, I used this guy, Thump, with the synth drone preset, because it gives this nice oomph. The dogs really love that. Yep. Look at the tubas, and then we'll look at some of the stuff in the mix. I have this system where I run all my buses into another bus, have some processing on that, and I record that inside of Pro Tools with some compression and different stuff. This is what I sent to the mastering engineer. I've never had a complaint, and it's on from the first fader I put up in my mix. It's part of my mix. To me personally, it seems like a stupid idea to mix through a compressor and then take it away, because it's part of your balance. So well, first on that the printed mix, I have a trim. This is automated, and when I feel like the mix needs a bit more, just some more punch, I'll just do a quick 1.5 dB of gain just on that attack. This goes into the BX1 Brainworks, a little bit of stereo width, and then just low cut on the sides. And this one, I don't remember what that's for, but it seemed like a good idea. I think it was something with the snare, actually. Something was, building up there. I have the Kramer tape on the master, but that doesn't do a lot. So sometimes I think that I should take it off, but every time I do, I don't think it sounds as good. So I leave it on. Waves, G comp, and also the Pultec, Pugue Tech. This is on all my mixes as well, but I start off with quite a low gain on both the bottom and the top, and then I adjust as I go along and use references and stuff. That part I print. That's what the mastering engineer gets. And yeah, I don't care what anyone says. That's my mix. Take it. After that, I go into the master fader. So what the client will get is the here the L3 Ultra Maximizer. Tried them out and I like this one the best. Just to pump it up a little bit. I don't go too hard on the limiters. And this one from IK Multimedia I really like. It gives you peak level and RMS at the bottom, and also something called perceived loudness. And I have this, you can move this guy, so I put it here and it just shows me where I want to be. I can show you somewhere, like in the chorus. I think it's really useful just to see where you're at. Oh, sorry. Stick with that. Then after that I go into a trim. This I only use for fading out songs. And this is after the one that's recorded. So that a mastering engineer will get a 32-bit file with no fade out, but the client gets this one, which is faded out. Apart from this song, which doesn't fade out. And at the bottom there I have only a dither, also from Waves. That's the master. Okay, so I thought I'd just go through some of the things that might be interesting. I won't go through all the plugins because I'm not as funny as Fab and I think it would be really boring. So I'll go through some of the stuff that might be interesting. The first thing that I think nobody else did, I don't know, but I don't think so. It's something that I think is kind of cool. The beat, the main beat track with all the drums in it, like this. I put a delay on that, and I thought that it grooved a lot more. And there's some automation on it, so it goes away in the bridge part or the pre-chorus. What I use for that is this little guy, and this one's great. I love it, and it's kind of quirky and difficult to use in a way, and I like that. I love that because you can't just put in eight notes and there you have it. You have to sort of use it, and the multiply and the adjust just confuses even more. Well, it doesn't, but it does, yeah. So what I do with this one, I've taken all my EQs, compressors, and reverbs and delays, and I've mapped them out to this this guy. It's from the Stone Age, which I still use. It'll be changed to something else pretty soon, but yeah, on this guy I just press this and this, and then I can control it from here. So what I did was I just sent it into this guy, and I knew that if I put it on ×2 or 4, I get the sort of lo-fi sound that I wanted, and I just play it, and I just turn the timing up and down until I like it. So it's not, the result, it's not on 8 notes or fourths or something like that. It's just, it's close to some of them, but I'm pretty sure that it's not spot on. It's just what feels good, and yeah, I think that's way better. I do that a lot. Okay, other than that, there is some saturation knob, which was a free plugin. Maybe it still is. That's just fantastic. I use this guy. Apparently I'll be getting more of these guys. Very grateful for that. I think they're brilliant. Yeah, some SSL wave stuff. But what I wanted to show you next is something I do on all my mixes, and more on the acoustic drums, played drums. I'll do this more. It's not that much on this mix, but still, I have this bus here that I call Crush, and the track here is called Crush. I send a lot of bass drum and snare and toms, but there are no toms here, to that one. And I send hi-hats and overheads and that stuff as well, but not that much. It's like 10 dB lower, so it's just, yeah, it's some of it there. And on that bus there is the Waves V-Comp, and this is, I don't know if it's okay to say this, but this actually is just always like this. I don't ever touch it. It's just, I found a setting that I like, and it's on like that. It squashes pretty hard. I have the massive tape pad full on the drive, so it sounds pretty ugly. And the Waves API. Some top boost, some boost in the mids, and some really low. Because I want when I put up the Crusher fader, I want it to sound bigger and more of everything. Okay, so next thing on the drum bus, actually this is one of the few mixes that I use NLS on the top and the bottom. I don't know if I'll be doing that. I usually have them on the bottom only, but yeah, I have the bus thing here. Doesn't do that much here. The Q1, I don't know what people think about this. I like to roll off some of the really low end so that it doesn't mess up the processing later. And this one is interesting, I think. I actually have a limiter on the drum bus. The reason for that is my philosophy here. If you're putting a limiter on your master bus, and often you clip the drums, right? That's what the spikes, the transients are. But every transient you squash on your master bus will affect all the other sounds on that's on the master bus at that moment. So I thought, how about if I limit the drum bus just a few dBs, and then I can limit the master bus a little bit less, and it will affect the other tracks less. I hope that was understandable. If not, send me an email or don't. Yeah, and I have the Kramer tape on the drum bus. This is a bit more radical than on the master bus. I have some wow and flutter and 7.5 IPS. And this one, yeah, you can hear it, but I like it. I think it glues it together. And one NLS at the end. Okay, moving on. About the bass, I don't think there's that much to say about it. I use the Trident EQ, UAD, Kramer tape. I actually put a limiter on most of my buses just to take off 1 or 2 dBs, because same reason as on the drums, you don't have to do that much with the limiter on the master bus. I hope none of my mastering engineers sees this.